Morning, all. All right, June 25th, 2021. And we're less than a week away from July, and here it already feels like late July. So don't be surprised if there's videos at different times of day while I try to find a comfortable time to be able to wear a jersey and talk to all you fine people. Tonight, Game 7, Tampa Bay and the Islanders, so I'll have to be wearing a jersey after this game's done and discussing the winner. But am I going to be wearing Tampa or am I going to be wearing the Islanders? So Tampa Bay's at home. You would think, all right, well, that's home ice advantage. It's a Game 7. But that home ice advantage, we'll see. We'll see whether or not it's a huge advantage for them or not. The pressure is on. For the Islanders, they can just go out there and have some fun. If they can keep this one close after the first period, if it's 1-1 or if it's scoreless, if after the second period it's 1-1, or even better, if they can have a lead. They don't have leads after the first period, so I'm not going to fantasize about the Islanders having a lead after the first. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa has a lead after the first, just because the Islanders generally do not have leads after first periods. But for Tampa, this is going to be interesting. Kucherov is considered a game-time decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play. I think from the looks of it, when he left the ice, it looked like it was a shoulder. And yeah, Cernak doesn't take the morning skate today. We'll see whether or not he plays. I would think probably not. And those are two large losses for the Tampa Bay Lightning, on top of the pressure that Steven Stamkos is going to have in a Game 7. Stamkos, Game 7s, his stats aren't very strong. So he's going to want to change that narrative tonight. And yeah, a lot of this is going to fall on a guy like Victor Hedman as well. So we'll see what happens tonight between these two teams. But it's going to be fascinating because, of course, the winner plays against Montreal. Of all teams, the Montreal Canadiens. But we need to talk about that too. So I'm gonna talk about Vegas for a second here, and I'm gonna do a video on Vegas anyways, right? After being knocked out of the playoffs and all that. The West was kind of a weak division, and we knew that throughout the season. We knew that the East was going to be very, very difficult. That the East was basically, and I tagged it as the group of death before the season started. But the West, you had Vegas, you had Colorado, who were both seen as contenders, and then you kind of had everybody else. St. Louis was kind of seen as a possible contender based on the 2019 Cup and their overall pedigree. But everybody else was seen as kind of a all over the place. Minnesota probably going to be fourth in the division. St. Louis probably third. And then after that, it's probably not going to be that competitive. You have the three teams in California and you have Arizona. Well, in the end, Vegas kind of did what I had expected, which was that they built up a ton of points against the California teams, against Arizona. The division was not as strong, I thought, as what we had in the East or even in the Central. I know the Central, there was a large separation between the top four and the bottom four. But again, when you're only playing against teams in your own division, I think it made teams' records stronger than they would have been over an 82-game schedule with everybody playing against each other. So I've seen the criticism, a lot of criticism directed towards what Montreal's doing, and oh, this is just awful and how terrible this is. But it's not the first time that a lower seed has gone to the Stanley Cup final. It's just not. So it happens. It's not a horrible thing to have happen, and it shows that there's some parity in the league. And for Vegas, I think their record was better than what the team actually was. I think they were a very good team, but you look at what happened in that series. Stone, no points and a -3 against Montreal. Marchessault, 1 assist. His line, though, they're all +3s. Pietrangelo as well. But remember, the special teams were tilted in favor of Montreal. In a very close series like that, those special teams made the difference. Alex Tuch had 2 assists. And in the series, Carey Price had a .933 save percentage. Marc-Andre Fleury had a .904, and Leonard also had a .933 save percentage. So Leonard was the better of the two goaltenders, and now we get to pour over this all summer and try to figure out how Vegas gets over that hump and becomes a champion, or if that window does start to close. This is a league that's built for youth and for speed. And I do wonder about Vegas next year and whether they get closer or if they get further away or if it's just going to be more of the same. But again, I think the argument about which division this, which division that, I think there were definitely some teams that had, you just look at the records this year, and there were some teams that had fantastic records, teams that had miserable records. And over an 82 game schedule, when you got 31 teams playing against each other, a lot of those records are going to even out a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what happens next season for Vegas, right? Blake Lizotte has signed a 1-year extension with the LA Kings for $800,000. And yeah, there's some signings that are going on that, again, I look at that and I go, well, that'll meet expansion requirements, won't it? As another player that they can go, all right, there's a little green check mark on Cap Friendly because he's now got a contract for next year. And of course, when Seattle picks players, 20 of them have to be under contract for next year. So we'll see how things go on that score. I don't think Lizotte's going to be the guy to go from LA, but again, it just meets the requirement. Of course, last night in Montreal, there were 15 arrests. 8 police cars were apparently vandalized. One was flipped that we know of. They're saying one was flipped. I don't know how it can be. Well, maybe one. Well, how do you does it just right itself? Like, of course, it's just the one. We would know if it was more than one. So it again comes down to you've got a small group that's going to make it bad for everybody else. That you've got a small group of people that are going to make everybody else look bad by comparison. I'm a Canuck fan. I know what I'm talking about. Every game, there's certain fans in the arena, even in Vancouver, that I'm like, and wow, that's interesting. Not with him. I'm not with him at all. I know we're wearing the same team's jersey and all that, but wow. And yeah, that's going to happen in any crowd like that. I saw people reporting it as a riot, which there was a huge number of people out on the streets. It'd still be going if it was. And so yeah, 15 arrests. One report that I got from a subscriber was that they got tear gassed as soon as they left the arena, so they were waiting to be allowed to leave, and then when they got out the door, they got a face full of tear gas for their consumption. I don't know any other way to put that. So it's gotta suck, you know. All right, guys, wait, you can't leave yet. Why can't we leave? Well, just a sec. And the tear gas is at the door. You may leave. Why now? Can I stay here? No, you gotta go out. There's tear gas. So yeah, it's Montreal. We'll see what happens. I do remember riots in Montreal for other things hockey related. So not the Richard riots. I'm not that old, but I can remember other incidents. So we'll see what happens in the finals. And we'll see how things go. But again, I don't view this and say, well, all their fans then are... No, that's ridiculous. And I wanted to say as well, Phillip Danault continues to prove himself as a shutdown center in the NHL. And everybody, myself included, I will say, doesn't give him the amount of credit he deserves. And for Montreal in these playoffs, while Carey Price is the reason in large part that they're where they're at, without Danault being able to frustrate guys like Stone in previous round against Wheeler, without Danault being able to frustrate these guys, Montreal's not here. So it is something that Marc Bergevin's going to have to sit down and figure out is how do you get Danault to stick around? Because they need him. Phillip Danault, this run has shown how important he is and how much they need him. How much is that worth, considering he doesn't really get the goals and the points? But defensively, he's just so good. I mean, he's really reminding me of Guy Carbonneau or Bob Gainey in his ability to shut guys down. It is remarkable. So if he does end up, you know, if this is his swan song in Montreal, he does end up on the market, he's going to have a lot of teams gunning for his services. And yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that does turn out, because we know it works in Montreal. If he signs a huge, you know, big money contract for you know, extended period of time somewhere else, maybe that backfires somewhere else, right? So I think it's in the best interest of both Danault and the Habs to figure out a way to make this work. Because while the Habs couldn't replace him, it's possible that he's playing his best hockey in Montreal and might not play as well somewhere else. So, all right, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You're just tapping upon this video. And hey, we're down to just 3 teams alive for the Stanley Cup, and all of them have won it before. Montreal hasn't won it since 93. Islanders haven't won it since 83, and Tampa won it last year. So there's a couple of long droughts and a team that won it last season. So we'll see who ends up winning. Let me know your thoughts and your winner in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.